Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving straight into a journey that literally bridges the ancient world with the absolute cutting edge of modern astrophysics. We're going to trace humanity's entire understanding of the cosmos, looking at historical texts and then cross-referencing them with the latest greatest data straight from NASA. It is this incredible story of stubborn illusions, massive mathematical blunders, and the awe-inspiring ongoing evolution of the very space we live in.
So picture this. You step outside on a clear, dark night. Plant your feet on the ground and just look up at the stars. For literally thousands of years, humanity looked up at that exact same sky and firmly believed the universe was completely static, eternal and totally unchanging. I mean, it feels perfectly still from down here, right? But today we have to ask a pretty massive question. Is the universe really standing still? Let's go ahead and challenge that millennia-old illusion.
Section 1. The historical illusion. A stubborn paradigm. Now, to understand just how deeply ingrained this idea of a totally still universe was, we really just need to look at Albert Einstein. When he published his revolutionary general theory of relativity, his own math mysteriously showed a dynamic universe, one that had to be either actively expanding or collapsing under its own gravity. But because the scientific consensus of his time was so incredibly stubborn about the universe being static, Einstein actually forced a mathematical band-aid into his equations. He called it the cosmological constant, and he used it basically just to keep his theoretical universe sitting completely still.
And here is the kicker. Years later, Einstein would famously confess that adding that cosmological constant was the biggest blunder of his entire life. Just let that sink in for a second. The absolute most brilliant physicist of the 20th century completely missed a fundamental reality of the cosmos, all because he tried to force his math to fit the popular illusion of a static sky.
Section 2. The empirical proof. Shattering the illusion.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the illusion finally shatters in 1929. American astronomer Edwin Hubble is up at the Mount Wilson Observatory, pointing what was then the absolute most powerful telescope in the world at distant nebula. And what he saw completely changed our understanding of reality forever. He used this physical phenomenon called redshift, which is basically the stretching of light waves toward the red end of the spectrum. Think of it kind of like the Doppler effect, but for light. When an object is moving away from you, its light waves physically stretch out. Well, Hubble used redshift to prove that not only are distant galaxies fleeing away from each other, but the farther away a galaxy is, the faster it's receding. He literally proved that the very fabric of space itself is stretching open. The universe was expanding.
And since Hubble's monumental discovery, decades of observations have just locked this in. Astronomers use these highly specific stars as cosmic milepost markers. Things like Cepheid variables, which pulse at regular intervals, and these incredibly bright Type 1a supernovae. By comparing their intrinsic brightness to how they appear to us here on Earth, NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has actually been able to measure the universe's expansion rate to a precision of just over 1%. That's wild. And by taking that expansion rate and hitting rewind, we can calculate a massively precise age for the cosmos, approximately 13.8 billion years old.
Section 3. The divine revelation. A 14th century alignment.
So, we're going to make a pretty massive timeline jump right here. We're going exactly 1,300 years before Edwin Hubble ever looked through his telescope, straight to a text revealed in the Arabian deserts 14 centuries ago. Looking impartially at our source material, we find this quote from the Quran, Surah Ad-Dariyat, chapter 51, verse 47. And it reads, "We built the universe with great might, and we are certainly expanding it." As an explainer of these sources, it is absolutely fascinating to highlight this mind-bending parallel to modern astrophysics, especially when you remember that this was recorded during an era when mankind widely believed the Earth was flat and the sky was just a fixed, solid dome over our heads.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible linguistic precision. The specific Arabic word used right there in the text is musion. When we apply a little linguistic magnification to this term, it translates literally to those who continuously expand it. Notice that it's an active verb form. It doesn't just say the universe was expanded once in the past and then stopped. It mirrors an ongoing, dynamic cosmic process. And that perfectly aligns with the continuous stretching of space that Edwin Hubble empirically discovered centuries later. Section 4. The modern frontier. The accelerating cosmos.
Right, so just when we thought we had this whole expansion of the universe thing figured out, the cosmos threw us a massive curveball. In 1998, astrophysicists measuring distant supernovae made a complete shock discovery. The expansion of the universe isn't just happening at some steady, constant rate. It is actively accelerating. The universe is literally stretching faster today than it was billions of years ago.
This was so paradigm-shifting that it actually won the 2011 Nobel Prize in Physics. And just to be absolutely sure, in 2023, researchers used NASA's brand-new James Webb Space Telescope to double-check the Hubble Space Telescope's results and rule out any weird measurement errors. Well, the James Webb confirmed it. The acceleration is completely real, and it continues to totally baffle scientists today.
So you're probably wondering, what in the world is causing this runaway universe? Well, astonishingly, all the stars, the planets, the galaxies, literally everything we can see makes up only about 5% of the cosmos. That is the normal matter. Another 27% of it is dark matter, but a staggering 68% of the entire universe consists of something scientists call dark energy. We can't see it, but we can definitely see its effects. It acts as this invisible anti-gravity or repelling force that is actively stretching space at an increasing, relentless pace.
So look at how brilliantly all of this converges for us. We started off with that stubborn illusion of a static sky, the one that tripped up even the great Albert Einstein. We moved through those mathematical blunders straight into the empirical proofs of Edwin Hubble's redshift. We saw the incredibly precise 1,400-year-old linguistics of the word motion, describing an active, ongoing expansion. And finally, we arrived at the modern frontier with NASA data revealing an actively accelerating universe driven by this mysterious dark energy. Bridging these ancient historical texts with modern cosmic discoveries really leaves us with just a profound sense of awe regarding the universe's incredible design and its ongoing evolution.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. The next time you step outside in the dark and you look up at the stars, just remember that you are not looking at a static painting. You are living inside an actively expanding miracle. Space is literally stretching out around you with every single breath you take. How does that change your perspective of the night sky? Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep looking up.